industrial and consumer products. This was founded back in the 1970s. So again, a lot of kind of old, purposely built facility that basically the new facility was not built for. One of the main products was methanol. If you're not familiar with methanol, it also goes by the term wood alcohol. This is what you don't want to have in your cocktail. This actually can cause blindness if drunk. It's very flammable and basically has other toxic aspects associated with it. So this necessitated understanding International Building Code, International Fire Code, National Fire and Protection Association codes. All of this factored in to what was necessary at the replacement site to move equipment and to move this operations into place. They had a fire engineer. This fire engineer did everything to the letter. The biggest thing is they never really talked to the business. So they had scoped everything out, firewalls in the new plant, retention dikes around the bulk storage containers, containment as far as rail cars. They had done everything to the letter. What I focused in on with my background was the finished goods area. They were actually kind of cutting the floor, recessing the floor, all this stuff to put pallets of window washing fluid in this area. The fire engineer did exactly what he should have done, but he failed to ask a key question. Whenever we got on site after reviewing all the paperwork, our first initial visit, I looked at the business owner and I said, what's the single largest container in that finished goods area? Window washing fluid, right? He's like 1 gallon. I'm like, this is over-engineered. I was like recessing the floor, doing all these other stuff, and this particular area of the plant is overkill. And so we actually had a discussion with the fire engineer. We laid out kind of our argument. He didn't necessarily agree, right, because he's following the strict letter. Fine. We had a meeting with the fire marshal the next day in that community where they were going to. We presented our argument. The fire marshal agreed with us. As long as they had protective spill kits and stuff in designated areas, he was fine waiving all the site modifications for that finished goods area. That was $1 million of site modifications off the table in 24 hours. All because, again, from our cross-discipline, asking the right questions at the right time. And asking it before it got too far in the process. And that's where the owner was actually thrilled with us. Because he didn't want to be driving forklifts into a recessed area of his finished goods floor and having to back out of that recessed area because it created more safety concerns for him and his drivers and stuff associated. So he was actually thrilled with us. And that's the type of advisory services that in these types of moves, that's what makes that relationship happen with the business owner, is that connectivity and that advisement to basically help them. And so this is where we had all of that. We went through, we observed, we did all the testing, we confirmed with the authorities having jurisdiction, like the local fire marshal, and we removed scope. And the last thing to make sure was that we documented everything. The end result for this particular project is they actually kept the agency kept us on to project manage all the way through this relocation. Right? Mere fact that we saved $1 million in 24 hours, they're like, hey, can you just make sure this happens? So that's where overall we had about 1.6 in total cost avoidance. So we found other areas of opportunities along the way. We made sure the business ran continuously 24/7. So there was no stoppage from one to the other. It was a kind of a lights out, lights on type of scenario. The substitute personal property, we managed through this. There were certain things, much like the other business, because it was old, certain pieces of equipment were non-compliant. A lot of this older equipment too was single-use equipment. So one of the things we looked at, instead of, again, replacing things one for one, where could we buy one piece of equipment that does multiple things? So that saves some of that cost associated. And then the last thing was coordinating the vacate with the integrated planning schedule. The lesson was treating the permit and the process design as one integrated work stream. Looking at it differently and working with the business owners and asking the right questions to get to a better result. So in the end, both cases really had these kind of 6 key lessons, right? Knowing the operation, realizing or understanding the operation before pricing the move. So looking at the process flows, looking at utilities, looking at hazards, looking at business continuity. The other thing was resolving the property. Where were there code compliance issues, replacement questions? Before things became solidified, that's where the value really came into place. Because if they had already started ordering equipment, it's too late. And working with the authorities in advance on what the design of the plan was key to ordering the right equipment at the right time.